Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So we're getting to the end of our format now. So I wanted just to kind of take this time before we jump into covering all the new stuff and just kind of evaluate where we are at the end of this meta. I wanted to show you guys my ending decks, the decks that I played a whole lot this format, and then what my final incarnation of the decks, what they look like. Just a couple here, just not going to do a card by card or anything like that. Just wanted to kind of do an over synopsis of them just for fun, just to kind of show you just my mentality of a lot of these decks and my play style, and just kind of me personally, instead of just covering 100 decks, like the decks that I played at locals week after week after week, at tournaments online or in person, like at DigiFest, over and over. Like, these are the final decks of the format for me. Also, don't forget our new memory marker this month is Kokomon. So if you're playing some Cherubi, you definitely need Cherubimon's baby form. This is so adorable. Handmade out of clay by my wife, hand painted as well for the face. Super adorable. You can find this on our Etsy page, link in the description below. Also on that Etsy page, you can find all of our previous memory markers we've had, as well as some of our Battle Ready Inc. merch. Okay, so the first deck I want to show you is one of the yellow-purple builds that I initially played a bit of. Ultimately, I did kind of fall off of this as there was some issues that I ran into a lot. So mainly the whole concept of this was just get Dynas on field with as many Karis as possible, and just every time my opponent hit one single security, I would suspend multiple Karis and pass turn back to me. So it's kind of like a impenetrable fortress. Dynasmon would just repeatedly recover back the one security that they would hit, and then the 4 Karis, 3, however many it is, would pass turn back to me. So my opponent could basically, they could do one play per turn and then swing, and then it would always pass their turn. That was the initial concept. It didn't quite work out like I wanted to. Like, literally, if you don't get into Dynasmon, then you start to really have a lot of issues. Sure, you've got lots of recovery like Salamon and things like that, but Salamon only triggering when you're at 3 or less. So if your opponent never puts you there, if they see the Salamon on, in raising area or whatever, they're not going to just aptly put themselves in a situation where you're going to get that value. Too many Wyvern's Breath. Honestly, 4 Wyvern's Breath was a little overkill. Holy Wave is such an expensive card to just hard play. Like, if in the days of security control where you're just waiting for your opponent to act so you can blow up their Digimon, it was okay because it was a good pass turn kind of card. In this, though, every turn really matters. So you really need to use every turn to benefit yourself, whether that be playing a Tamer or whatnot. Holy Wave, like, it feels fine to get hit in security, but having to hard play it never really feels that great. Rare occurrences where you're like, I've literally got nothing better to do. I'm at 3 memory here. I'm just going to Holy Wave to pass turn, because either way you're going to go to 3 memory. But yeah, the Karis and Dynas are awesome when they get on field in tandem together. You really need multiple Karis and one Dynas on field to really start seeing the value of the deck. And it's just super grindy until you can go into Susanomon and kind of win. The TK, the Duo Tamer, is so awesome for that. Just 1 memory fixer and then 2 of your Duo Tamers triggering. There you go. You're ready to go into Susanomon and then just start swinging for game. And that was kind of the stall tactic. It was just a huge stall deck, security control-esque, with lots of the Schwartz and the Wyvern's Breath there for major control. It was okay. But what I ended up going with as like my main staple deck for the whole first half of the format was this yellow-purple build, where you have the purple baby or purple rookies and babies, and then you have the yellow hybrid package. I did play this deck a little bit different from a lot of people. As you notice that there's a Jack Raid here. The Jack Raid was one of those things that like no other yellow-purple players I saw ever do. Man, this thing gets hit in security and passes turn back to you. Feels so good, especially if you have like a memory fixer on field. Just instantly go up to 3, end your opponent's turn. Absolutely devastating. I won several games with just this getting hit in security, but also I had a few games where my trash was at 20, and I would double Jack Raid for 4 memory with a memory fixer on field, go into Susanomon and swing for a game. So the Jack Raid ended up being probably the spiciest tech in the whole deck that really paid off. I tried a lot of different techs here and there, just little things to do, and nothing really ever felt that impactful. But man, the Jack Raid felt so good. This deck is grindy. Okay, yellow hybrid is so grindy. If you played against it or you've played it, you know exactly what I mean. You literally have to use Susanomon to reshuffle in 10 cards in your deck so you don't deck out. Decking out is super common in this deck, so you really need the Susanomon. So that should tell you how massive your trash gets. So Jack Raid, very powerful in this. We had the 4 Schwartz here. I love this card. I know some people played less of it. Honestly, if I had multiple copies in my hand, I didn't mind just playing it. Like, okay, I'll play this to kill 2 things on your board. I have a second one in hand if you ever do get really wide. It never really bothered me that much to have multiple copies of this because it just always felt really good to have in hand whenever. Where my build kind of different from a lot of other people's was kind of the Seraphimon. I know a lot of people went with Kazuchimon, and I just never liked Kazuchimon. If I'm at 2 security, right? I could go into Kazuchimon for 5 if I need to, and I recover 1. That's 5 memory to Evo for 1 recovery. If I'm at 2, or I'm sorry, if I'm at 1 and say I don't even have a level 5 on field, if I have to go all the way up into a Jet Sylphimon first, and then that recovers me up to 2, then again, Kazuchimon feels really dead. Kazuchimon, if I already have a level 5 on field, then if I'm at 1 security, it gets value. Kazuchimon never felt value until I was at 0 security, and at that point, I'm probably already dead. I mean, realistically, I don't think I was ever in this whole format ever in a position where I'm like, oh no, I'm at 0 security and it's my turn, and I've got this level 5 on field. Let me just Evo into this Kazuchi. That never that situation would have never come up because it was never like that. But I like the Seraphimon just because if you're at 3 security or more, Seraphimon is just 100% better because you're going to get that recovery. They're both 3 Evo at that point. Seraphimon, going to get the recovery automatically, and then it's going to have that security tank +1, same as Kazuchimon. Kazuchimon just had a little bit better DP, and in this format, DP wasn't that big a deal. I mean, most of the time I could swing in, and like I would say, 4 out of 5 times I swung in, no issues. So pretty solid. And then you combine that with Rise Greymon for another security attack +1. Felt so powerful. I would go Rise Greymon, Digiburst, get the extra Tamer on field to make my Rise Greymon live, go into Seraphi and swing for 3 security checks. I played this deck so aggro. It was like control, and let me draw into Rise Greymon, Seraphi, and then just punch for game, or those situations where it's like, okay, well, let me double Jack Raid, or TK and Kari, get myself up to 7, boom, drop a Susanomon, and punch for game. I played the deck so aggro, which threw a lot of people off. No one ever really expects Yellow Hybrid to go super aggro. If you're in those situations, especially against Red, you cannot waste time against Red. I would punch so hard and so fast against Red that I never really had much of a problem losing to them. I just kind of calculated in that my security is probably dead. If they have an Aldemon, nothing in my security is going to matter. So I don't need to play the security check game to clear their field. I just need to not waste time and try to get this big massive board of Tamers. That's why you don't see Shine in here. I didn't want to worry about any of that. I did have Shine in the side deck a few times when those were permitted. That I would drop a Wyvern's Breath for a Shine, and that was about it. And it came up a little bit, but not a whole lot. But yeah, just super aggro. I really enjoyed playing this aggro deck version of it because too much. If you're in a long event for 7-8 rounds and you go to time every single round, you're gonna be so exhausted that by the time you get to round 6, 7, and 8, you're so tired that you're gonna start misplaying more and more and more. And so you got to keep that in mind when you pick a deck to play that you're gonna take to a long tournament. Pick a fast deck. Don't pick a slow deck like this. I made that mistake. Okay, you start making stupid mistakes by the end of the day, and it's just not good. Pick a fast deck for long tournaments. I really, really recommend it. If you want to just go to locals, and you can play this at locals all you want because you got 3-4 rounds, not a big deal. So that was the final incarnation of this deck. And now the deck that I'm onto now is, yes, I'm playing the blue hybrid. If you've followed my channel, though, you know that in the beginning, I was like, yeah, I'm going to play yellow-purple hybrid in the beginning. And then after I go to DigiFest, I'm going to switch over to blue and play the last month out with blue hybrid. I didn't even know where Blue Hybrid was going to fall in the format at the time I said that. It was just kind of always, in my plan to do so. And so now we're here, and now it's done really well. Now it just feels like I'm following the bandwagon of, oh, it's the best deck, blah, blah, blah. And you're just playing it because it's the best deck. I'm like, well, I wanted to play this before. I didn't realize it was going to be so good. But here we are. But so I'm going to play it anyway, though, just because I'm sticking to what I said. And I do just generally want to play it anyways. So I did drop the rookie package down. I've seen some really good value out of this. The Strabimon, hard play, and then just Evo these guys in raising area just to promote them up. I was trying the Strabimon with the inheritable of gaining the memory. But it almost never came up. The only time I could ever Evo on top of it was Kumamon, and I just never really got much value out of that. I'd go Kumamon on top, strip a source, but it's like, okay, now I'm Evoing and swinging. Okay, I gain one memory back. What is one memory going to do for me? I've already attacked. I've already Evoed. One memory after you've kind of done all those steps. Never felt that impactful, so I ended up dropping it entirely just for these guys. Because these guys, again, with this deck being so popular, have really, really impacted the format, just running all these memory blockers and Evo reduction blockers. So that's kind of where I'm at there. I love the Bokomon, 4 Bokomon. I know some people only play like 3 or 2. Blows my mind. I mean, like, so many targets in this deck. All your key pieces for winning, are kind of, tied to Bokomon hitting. So whether it be tamers or hybrids here. The only time I don't Bokomon or I don't Strabi is I've got the pieces in hand. I've got my 4s and my 5s. I got tamers on field. I'm just trying to get into that Azulongmon. I try not to play anything that'll bottom deck an Azulongmon. So I try to start playing Davis's, that sort of thing. Things that don't, or things that only draw me cards instead of revealing cards and only adding hybrids or tamers. So you just kind of play it. Once you've got established, then you can really start digging for your in-game pieces. And yeah, so I went with the Zulong package. I was an advocate for this way before the set even dropped, and I made a post about it before. I was like, people call, like, in my other video where I talked about Azulongmon, like, in the comment section, like, they said some, like, kind of mean things here and there, and sometimes I had to remove stuff. But yeah, they were like, about how bad Azulongmon was. Like, Magna, Garurumon is the way to go. Best one ever. Azulongmon's trash. You'll never get it off. Your opponent just will never have enough things on field for it to matter. Your opponent literally only needs 2 Digimon on field, and you're good to go for Azulongmon. Like, that's it, really. You just need to be able to put 2 Digimon on field with no sources. Whether he is the final Evo to strip sources and then get him, because he basically turns into Susanomon at that point. You strip those sources, he gets those 2 security attack pluses, and he's just instantly Susanomon for punching power, and it's still your turn. So basically it becomes a 3 Evo cost, and with a memory fixer, no problem. Even if you have to go into like a Beowulf first, you've got all these hybrid or Hammer Sparks and Howling Memory boosts that you're fine. No issues there. I will say that Howling Memory Boost so far, 4 of seems a little excessive. I might drop this down to 3 of. I liked it because it really plays into the deck. We're stripping sources. Every time we strip sources, we get the draw off of Kiromon here. And then when we finally do bring out our Azulongmon, it's really great for that. Also, you can use it in combination with like other cards pretty nicely. Strip sources, stun one, and then you can Evo into like a Korikakumon, stun something else. Whatever you remove the sources off of doesn't have to also be the thing you stun. So you can remove 2 sources off one thing and then stun something else. Pretty powerful card. But 4 of at times has felt a little bricky. Sure, you can play it, stun, have another turn, and then have a delay gain 2, which is pretty solid. But I don't know. It's okay. The big one here is the Blue Hawaii Death. Some people might not even be familiar with this card. For the turn, one of your Digimon gets plus 3k DP and can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with no Digivolution cards. When does this come up? Play this for 2 on like a Strabimon or like one of your other rookies here. Give them that plus, was it 3k? Plus 3k here, and swing over Bokomons. I love swinging over Bokomons with this. Even swinging over other Strabimons in the mirror match, because then they can't Evo on top of hybrids. They can't go Korikakumon on top of Strabi and get the Korikakumon stunned, because you remove the Strabimon off field. That hybrid actually does kind of matter. Or swing over a memory blocker. Swing over those whatever color you're going against. If they have a memory blocker, swing over that, clear it off the field, and then pop all your hammer sparks and whatnot, and your howling memory boost that you have delayed on field. This card, wow, very, very powerful. Has come in a few times. I might actually bump this up to 2. Might drop the howling memory boost down 1 and bump up this blue Hawaii Death. Especially without sides anymore, it seems like Bandai is now going to start testing dropping sides and just doing mulligans. So with no side anymore, I definitely want to have ways to handle the mirror match, and just, I don't know, a lot of other things. I think this is a really powerful way to do it. And again, you don't have to play it on just a rookie. I just gave that as an example. But a plus 3K, right there, that's already really nice. And then if you also might need to attack an unsuspended Digimon with no sources, you can do that really easily in this deck, because we strip sources so easy between the Tommies, the Howlings, the Kumamons. We've got all these different ways to strip sources. The Duo Tamer, when you attack, you suspend it. So blue Hawaii Death, like I said with the jack rates here, like just a few techs that just no one sees coming, that just go a long way. Just a couple cards. It's crazy how 2 cards that no one else plays in their decks is just so powerful in yours. So this is actually thanks to a buddy of mine from locals, Dalton. He showed me this. Very, very cool stuff, because he used it against me, and I was like, that's pretty effective. I think I'm going to give it a shot. And then literally the first night of locals where I tried this, it came up like every single match of the night. Not every game, but at least every single match this card came into effect. And I just had it as a 1 of in the deck, so might try bumping it up to 2 of here soon. But this is basically the final version of the deck. I won't make really many more changes of this. We have the Ultimate Cup coming up, and whether I play this or yellow purple is still to be determined. But it'll be one of these 2 decks in a very similar setup to what we have here. So if you face me and you use that information against me, so be it.